Hello, my name is Jeff Gemiolo, and today I'm going to talk about confessions and karma. They're, in a weird way, they're actually related. Confession is basically identifying that you've done something wrong and telling the world, or telling God, telling the world. Confessing the truth, you could say. Karma is a very interesting thing because karma, there's positive karma and there's negative karma. And karma is in respect to the soul. So when you do good things you're supposed to be doing, you get positive karma. When you do bad things that you're not supposed to be doing, you get negative karma. Think of it like a small dog. You get a treat when you do the right thing. You get a spank on the butt when you do the wrong thing. Difference is karma's usually a little bit worse than that usually. Now, what most people don't realize is that karma, if you don't clear it up in this lifetime, you get it back the next lifetime until you clear it. So it just keeps snowballing bigger and bigger, and you get in worse and worse situations. And that's where, I guess you could say, confessions come in, or deathbed confessions. You got deathbed confessions are if you actually identify before you're dead, on your deathbed. Even in the legal system, it's actually considered a very statement of truth. Because I said you need to clear your conscience, so to speak, before you go to heaven, so to speak, the way they think about it. But in reality is if you clear your conscience or you clear that, you actually clear your karma so that you have less karma next iteration, less than you would have. You still got to pay the price for what you did. The only difference is you're not paying a price for leaving it unsaid here, I guess you could say. And generally that's where that comes from. Then you got the other side of the fence who says, I'll die before I say it, so there's a nice spot in hell for them. So because the Lord really does not like things that are left undone, especially when it involves confessions. And that's why us as a people, as a world, we trust deathbed confessions, confessions in general. Even though some would also say that a lie is 80% or 90% truth and 10% lie. So technically, I guess you could lie on your deathbed confession, but that would actually give you more karma. And most people are actually on their deathbed are actually more worried about the karma, because they get their life review in front of their face. Of here's my life, and here's what's going to happen to me now because of it. Some people actually get that earlier in life, before their deathbed. They'll get that as like a warning. There'll be a dream, or they'll get a little warning. Hey, you're kind of crossing some lines here that you really don't want to cross. As I said, that's usually your spirit team. Your spirit guides, that they will make sure you know when you're starting to cross those lines and how to get back to the good lines. I don't think the Lord really wants to punish anyone, but He has to. Back to that analogy of the dog. If you don't punish a dog for going potty in the house, it'll keep going potty in the house all over the place. Hence the reason it has to have a correction. The only thing that's really weird about the situation is that because some people don't believe in reincarnation at all. But we are being judged all the time, actually, nowadays. It used to be when you died, you were judged. With your heart, was your heart heavier than a feather? That kind of thing. But you were getting judged to come back in. And what they found actually happened is people found loopholes in it and basically said, we don't have to pay for anything. So the Lord did us all a favor and ratcheted it up a little bit, and now every couple of years you get hit with some karma. So pay attention. Well, the real bad part about it is actually people who get hit with karma a lot don't usually know why. And it's usually because they're really not nice people to a lot of people. So it's like which one in particular am I getting karma for? So that's the dirty secret of a lot of people, is that they do it so often they just don't care, and they really should, because there's no guarantee that you're gonna resurrect back on this earth. Because when your 3 strikes are out, you kind of get like 3 lifetimes or so, and you're here to go do your thing. Once you exceed those and you're not on the program, you're not learning, you're stuck in your old ways, no problem. They call it the wood chipper. Just imagine having a big wood chipper out there where you throw branches in. Imagine a soul going through that. It chews it up and spits out little micro pieces that never again will that soul ever be the same. So when they need a new soul, they scrape them up and make a new soul out of that. But because there's other souls in there, you'll never get the same recipe, so to speak, I guess. You could think of it that way. But either way, it is actually literally a destruction. It's literally destroyed. So when people say you can't destroy a soul, God can. And usually it means you're not listening at all. Like, -1. This is really not meant to scare you. It was actually meant to identify to you karma operations and how they kind of work. A good example is if you're an innocent person, a lot of people say prayers against me for some reason, or do witchcraft against me. Well, if I don't know you, I'm an innocent person. I did nothing to you. I'm an innocent person. So literally you're going after an innocent person. Usually the response on that is return to sender, especially if you don't deserve it. As I said, God a lot of times will send me in people's paths to force a change, I guess you could say, to force them to see themselves in a different light, to change. And they can either change or not change. If they decide not to change and they go the vendetta route, well, I have no control over that. That is God's department. It is my job to forgive. As I say every day, it's my job to forgive, and it's God's job to judge. And I'm very glad I'm not in the judgment business. Now, don't get me wrong. I can declare judgment on a situation, which means I would like my soul and their soul to be judged based on this situation. And usually it doesn't work well for the other person, because actually I'm a pretty good ranking. I'm a pretty nice person. So, back to that innocent thing. So if you're going to be a scumbag, you may want to be a scumbag to other scumbags. But I'd actually prefer you not be a scumbag to anybody. But problem is people have a tendency to pick on other people that they can pick on. So they like to pick on innocents, but they just don't understand how innocent they are. And innocent also means, by the way, when you come back to this earth with no karma from the previous one, you're an innocent. And you're not supposed to be exploiting them. And you did. And that's what usually gets you in trouble. So that's what I want to talk about today, confessions and karma. Hope you found it informative. Have a great day.